Welcome to Journeys of Empowerment. I'm Michiel Sutjetreit. This is a space for slowing down and paying attention to what is changing beneath the surface. Through honest conversations with aspiring, impact-driven female founders, we explore the moments that reshape us, the questions that won't go away, and the choices that quietly alter the direction of a life. Sometimes the path that once felt right begins to feel a little too small, and something quieter but more honest asks to be trusted. These conversations live in that space. What happens when the life you've worked so hard to build no longer feels like enough? Sometimes the achievements keep coming, the responsibilities grow, and from the outside everything looks successful. Yet, somewhere underneath, a quiet question begins to emerge. Is this really how I want to live? In this episode, I sat down with Tanushri Pal Chowdhury, founder of BalanceWorks, leadership coach, and someone who discovered that success and fulfillment are not always the same thing. We explored how growing up surrounded by strong, independent women shaped her understanding of resilience, the pressure and validation that came from more than 2 decades in corporate leadership, and the profound impact of losing one of her closest friends during COVID. We also talked about identity beyond job titles, the courage it takes to ask for help, and what it means to move from consistent doing into a more conscious and present way of living. She puts it simply: it does not have to be either or. You get to choose what you want to do. And for me, this one stayed. I realized I had been living as if there would always be more time. Listening to Tanu reminded me that sometimes our biggest transformations don't begin with a new goal. They begin with a moment that makes us stop and look honestly at our lives and ask what truly matters. Let's walk into it. and I pressed already on record.
Okay.
Tanu,
right.
Welcome to Journeys of Empowerment.
Thank you so much, Michiel. Thank you for having me.
First of all, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Wonderful,
yeah.
It's a beautiful morning.
Yes.
Sunshine.
I know.
We had already an amazing conversation.
Yes.
And maybe to share a little, it's for me so special and still rare to meet someone with similar genetic markers, because I grew up in the Netherlands and I see, and it's unfamiliar, similar.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's interesting. So I'm so happy that we are having this conversation. And before we dive into your journey, I would love to invite you to envision a little bit the future, and by answering the question, who do you aspire to become?
I love the question, and I particularly love the becoming part, because for the last many decades of my life, my journey has been all about doing. It was doing and not becoming. It was not about being anything. The internal landscape was always about what's next. The good thing is, while I answer this question of yours, it is still about what's next, but it is indeed about who am I being when I'm achieving the next thing. And who I am being is very simple, Michiel. It is I'm being and becoming a person who contributes to the lives and progress of other people. And an older version of me would have thought, but how? When? What are the details of it? Some of it is clear and the rest of it will come. But I know that my mission in life, my purpose in life, is to be of help to another human being, not just a corporation, not just an organization. There's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be a change, an impact, growth, transformation for another human being. Small, big, right now, later, it doesn't matter.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And that is fueled and that comes from somewhere, right?
Yes.
And that has everything to do with your beautiful journey.
Yeah, indeed.
And the evolving over time. So we agreed upon a central theme as a Northern Star, which helps us, but also the listener, a little bit as a sort of guidance. What is the Northern Star for our conversation? And we agreed upon reclaiming life beyond work.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of reclaiming for you?
That's a great question. I think when we go through, a lot of us, when what we are doing in our day-to-day lives, and life is kind of compartmentalized. No, it's work and it's personal space, pretty much. And I don't know if a lot of us realize that, but we are going through that almost in an autopilot mode. We've become creatures of habit. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter, but we have become creatures of habit. And reclaiming is, as a first instance, developing awareness. Where am I? What does this mean for me? Is this leading me to what I'm meant to do? Do I know what I'm meant to do? I think the starting point is awareness, and next would be action, perhaps, if that comes through to you. And then perhaps taking steps where you are going where you want to, not because you have to. So control is probably not the right word, but it's an empowered choice that you get to make, right? That to me is reclaiming.
I hear also a sort of freedom of choice, a sort of
100%
autonomy,
choice.
a sort of agency.
Yes, absolutely, because it is the way of getting out of your autopilot mode is through making an empowered choice. I do this because I wish to, I want to, I get to, not because of, I have
obligations,
to.
expectations,
I have to, don't have a choice. Yeah, exactly. Societal pressure, conditioning, or parental pressure, whichever way you want to look at it, it's not about that. It's because I choose to be this way. And it takes time, perhaps, sometimes to get there. Yeah.
I right away jumped in with your name, Tanu, but it's Tanushri.
It is Tanushri, yes.
Where does that beautiful name come from?
It is an Indian name. It is more specifically from the part of India where I belong, which is in the east. It's in the east of India, but the province is called West Bengal. And yeah, it's we are three sisters, and we have names kind of ending in Shri, which is common in I was almost about to say our part of the world, but in my part of the world, where you have kind of rhyming names for children. But it comes from India.
And is there also a meaning in the name?
Yes, there is. Tanu means face, or could mean your body as well, but typically face, and Shri means beautiful.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful name, right?
I know. Yeah.
I'm getting very curious about life in India. If you think about life in India, you grew up there. And,
I did.
And when did you leave India?
2015, so it's not very long ago.
Not very long ago.
No.
Okay, so what is life for you in India? What is growing up for you in India? How is that?
It was incredible because there's so many. I've not lived in a lot of places, but it was over a prolonged period of time. Then there was initially the younger years where my father worked in the tea estates. So he was managing, the administration, he was the tea estate manager for his entire life. It's a tough job. Physically quite demanding, but very beautiful because we got to be in tea plantations and live in bungalows and all of that. So growing up was a lot of that, but not on a continued basis because my mum, and she's a force to reckon with, she could have made the choice that we will have this tea garden life and the kids will go to boarding school, which was very common in our entire network of, my dad's colleagues. Everyone was like that. So the parents lived the posh life, so to say, and the kids were in the boarding school. They went to good boarding schools. My mum, for whatever reason, and bless her for making that decision, she decided that we'll kind of have a back and forth. So your dad does the job, he stays in the tea estate, we will move to the city. I'm going to live with the girls because I want to be involved in their lives, in their education. I want to make sure that they come back home. They're not coming back to just a boarding school. and that's what she did, and that's how we grew up. So Dad, we used to spend all our time with him during holidays and vacations, but otherwise he was kind of a visiting member. He would come in, go out, come in, go out. But my mom did everything for us. So that in hindsight told me the women can do everything.
Wow.
She managed the house. She managed our studies because we were kids then. And at that time, it was just me and my older sister. My younger sister came in much later. She did everything, managing, societal obligations and relations. And in India, we have a lot of festivals and celebrations. She managed all of that by herself. And I don't know, I think that's something that I learned early on, that it's, you just have to give it a shot. And this is the circumstance. It was not abnormal for me that, she's a woman, but she's got everything. So that was part of growing up for a fairly long period of time. And then again, and we were given a lot of independence. Yes, which was also... and it's funny when I reflect on all of this right now, a lot of things that we got to do was not necessarily very typical, because I come from a very regular middle class family. So you're expected to do things a certain way. You're supposed to be academically inclined, which we were. Thankfully, we enjoyed education. We enjoyed learning. We were good students. And at the same time, that freedom of choice. If you want to study this, you get to study this. You want to study something else, that's fine too. You want to... and one particular thing I remember, I went to a co-educational school. Me and my older sister, all three of us actually, we went to a co-educational school.
What is the meaning of that?
Girls and boys are in the same school.
Yeah, sorry,
it was not a girls-only school. And boys were such great friends. And... it is not something that was ever frowned upon by my mom. If boys came over and we were studying together, or we were just hanging out, or I went somewhere for a party or whatever,
it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was all okay. But that's not the experience that a lot of my other girlfriends had. No. So, and in hindsight, it just made you comfortable, whether it's a girl or it's a boy, it's a human being, friend or not a friend, whichever way. I think those liberties served me very well. When it was high school was over and we had to, make a choice, what do you want to study in college? You get to choose whatever it is that you want to do. Because in India, a lot of times, if you are either a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or you're a failure in life. It's as simple as that. If these are the professions, so you have to study science and maths and physics and so on. I studied political science. My older sister studied political science. My younger sister studied geography. Why? Because we wanted to. And there was no pressure from either of our parents to say, oh, you have to study science because then you get to be in this profession. You get to be an engineer and then you will earn this money. And so I think these were these were parts of me growing up in India. And then, however, things changed. When I was in my late teens, things changed in the family dynamics, changed a little bit. And I found myself having to make some decisions. I would have, because I studied political science, I was very clear in my mind that I study a foreign language and I am going to be a diplomat.
Wow.
That was very clear. And I got a lot of encouragement from my professors and from my teachers and everybody saying that, your communication is good. You have a good way of interacting with people. Where
did it come from? You don't wake up and you think, I'm going to be a diplomat.
No,
where does that come from?
There was a guest speaker in college one day, and he was a diplomat. And oh my God, I was like, this is it.
They planted the seed.
Yeah, this is it. And he was, I do not recall his name, but very well-spoken guy. Like, he had, and if I'm not mistaken, he was an alumni of our college. So I'm like, this is it. This can happen. So that was very inspiring. And I started taking classes in French. Not that I can speak a word of it right now. And then, they say man proposes, God disposes. So I had my plans and then universe had its own plans. Things changed. I could not pursue my education beyond college. I didn't get a master's degree then. and I had to start working. And you study political science, you want to, do a master's degree, then become a diplomat. That is different. But just with a political science bachelor's degree, where do I go? What do I do?
What made you decide to? What were the changing dynamics which sort of forced you to make that decision? Because I can imagine having such a clear sort of northern star and such an intrinsic motivation, and then all of a sudden dynamics change, and you have to decide. What were the specific dynamics that made you forced to?
It was a difficult season in the life of my parents, and I think they got too caught up in trying to manage themselves, and we were kind of left in the background a little bit. And what amplified things was the fact that there were some financial troubles that came in, and then we were like, okay, education is more or less done. I kind of paid through my college years as well, which was fun. I had multiple jobs. It was great. But then, need to manage on my own. Cannot rely on the family providing for anything anymore, which in India is typically not how it goes, because your education, everything more or less is funded by your parents, and therefore you kind of are responsible for your parents when they're growing old and so on. So no, for me it was... and like I mentioned, the growing years, there's so many gifts that I had from my parents. We were never wealthy, but we were never...
There was always enough.
There was always enough. There was always enough. And we were encouraged to do a lot of beautiful things. We were encouraged to read. We were encouraged to have interest in cultural things. And like I said, the choices, the empowerment, that whole example about my mom, all of those were a part of growing up. But that kind of changed around the age of 19 because of things in the family. And then it was about very financially driven decisions that I had to take. So that kind of changed things for me. And then I was like, okay, I have to get up a job. So that's what I did. I got a job back in the days, the outsourcing industry was booming in India. Yeah. So there was a call center for an American healthcare. The name of the organization was Wipro, and the client was United Healthcare, which is a massive American health insurance. I got a job there, and I was a call center agent. That was my first. Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was the best time of my life.
I can see it.
Yeah, it was the best time because it was stressful because we had to do night shifts, right? Because you are mirroring.
But in hindsight, the best time or already?
No, even then we had fun. We had fun. And this was in 2004. I am still in touch with some of those people.
No, nice.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun because, even the person who was my trainer, I met, he lives in Goa in India. I meet him when I go to India. We're in touch because, it's some of those relations. We had a lot of good times that we worked hard, but we were very young, so we partied a fair bit as well, to be honest. And it was just, we lifted each other up. We had a lot of fun. It was really, really nice. It was physically not the best thing. I don't think I would be able to do it at all now because night shifts month after month after month.
What do you mean by physically? Why? Wow.
Because it's demanding. Because you start work at 6 o'clock in the evening. And by the time it's done...
due to the time differences.
Yeah, due to the time differences. Otherwise, and also, you're sitting there and you're on call the whole time. You're like, and you have to, it's a scripted thing, and it's sometimes, it was inbound calls. Luckily, I didn't have to make calls, but people were calling in about their health benefits from doctors, offices, and so on. And then sometimes if you said, oh, this is not covered in your insurance policy, that's not an easy conversation. Or no, I can you check again, and so on and so forth. But it overall, very enjoyable, I would say.
So the whole sort of community feeling there, it was a sort of community feeling.
It was a community, and we were all more or less of the same age, trying out a job in a call center for whatever. Everybody had a different reason, because that's not the ultimate goal, right? We came from different backgrounds. There was a sense of community. There was a sense of having each other's back. And I think that has kept those relations going for a very, very, very long time.
How long did you do it? Really?
Overall, I was in that organization for 3 years, but I was not taking calls for that entire period. I moved from, I think I took calls for 6 or 8 months, and then I became a voice and communication coach. And then
voice and communication coach.
Which in that industry is very, very relevant. Yeah. Yes, how do you communicate? How do you respond? Because you're on the call with customers constantly. The whole time. Yeah. So I did that. I really enjoyed that. Then I moved into operations. And because I realized when you are, as a voice coach, I was working with teams the whole time. And I think that's where I realized that it's a different dynamic when you're working with a group of people. And it's beautiful that I'm getting to reflect right now that what I said, I want to make who I want to become is just to make a difference and have an impact. Even as a voice coach, I got to do that. Because somebody who's struggling with a simple pronunciation and they are getting scored off and they're being told off by clients, customers, or their management that, oh, this communication piece is not clear, the clients are not able to understand you and so on. But just to be able to support them and guide them and coach them on that, that was very rewarding. And don't get me wrong, it was a stressful job, physically demanding, very poorly paid. Very poorly paid. But I had fun.
And still you loved it.
I loved it, yes. I loved it. And you can see from my face, I loved it. And then I went into operations, and then I had my own team for the first time. This was 2006, so 20 years.
And it was all about, at first it was about personal performance, and then you had to change to do team performance.
Team performance, yes. And it's...
How did that came easy, that switch? The transition or switch or whatever?
I did not struggle with it. I do not recall struggling with it because I think it was in a way gradual, right? Because initially when I'm taking calls, I'm responsible for myself. And then when you are one of the better performers, you are kind of tagged to 2 or 3 other people that, okay, you're doing well, can you help them as well? That happened. And then the voice coach thing happened. And then I became a team lead with a relatively small team.
Gradually.
It is gradual. And it was a relatively small team. We were just 12 people in my first team, I remember. So it kind of... And I think what helped me very much is after being a voice coach, I went into product training as well. So the insurance services was the product. So I became a product trainer. And that was I kid you not, I think that was the most fun that I have had in my career. I was working 14, 15 hours a day.
Wow.
And I got to stand in front of a room, and it was a 6 weeks rigorous product training that we used to have for the learners, and then they graduate, and then they go to the ops floor, and then they're taking live calls and they're performing and so on. And that transition was magical for me. You walk into the room for the first day, no clue, because they're fresh out of college, university. This is, for most people, for 99% of the people, first job. And then they got trained on everything, on communication, on language, on the product. This is what you do. This is how you say. And then in 6 weeks, my teams were consistently the best performers on the floor. And then I remember having a conversation with the ops guy saying that, you are training them so well, come and spend some time on the ops floor. And when I started spending time on the operations floor, and when I saw my
team members,
people, my trainees, when I saw them performing, that is such a thrill. What is your magic?
What is the magic sauce here then? Can you deconstruct the magic sauce? Why was it that people out of your team were performing so well?
I have never been asked that question. What is the magic sauce? I think there's 2 elements to it. Technically speaking, I was very strong because I had done the job. I know what it was like. So it's lived experience. I'm not theoretically training you.
You knew the ropes.
I knew the ropes 100%. And I also knew the tricks. Okay, I knew that if I know a shortcut.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Tricks? Yeah. We never use tricks in sales and
exactly.
No.
But I knew the product very well, so I was a good trainer, and I got certified as a trainer by very strong professionals as well. So technical base was very strong. It came from my lived experience. I knew the tricks of the trade. if you will. And somewhere, somehow, we had a lot of fun together. Like I said, I wasn't paid well, but I made sure there was a pizza party that my team would have. I would pay from my pocket, doesn't matter. I wanted people to like have that sense of team membership and whatever, like small little things. We would do fun things together, and we would, I think it's just, we wanted to succeed as individuals, like each,
Yes.
But we also wanted to succeed as a team. Batch 69 was the first batch that I had trained, because it's like multiple, and there was so much pride in belonging to batch 69. Do you know what I mean?
It's a cohort meaning,
you know,
69 is the group.
Yeah, and the fact that I still remember this after 20 years.
Beautiful. Yeah. Where does that come from? That part of the magic sauce.
Where does
How much do you believe that comes from the upbringing, for instance, from your mother? Groupthink, pizza night, team building, empowering. I
think I think upbringing has a lot to do with it, but there's a specific teacher in my school when I was in 8th grade, Sir Sebastian Chaco. He was a great influence. He has been a great influence. He still is. I'm still very much in touch with him. When we were in his class, there was something intangible but very special. We are in class 8, section B. These are special people. Why? Because, we're Sir Chaco's students. And I think there is an inherent... I think he was a very special influence. He spent a lot of one-on-one time with me. He took a special interest in making, you should read this kind of books. This is where you should go. This is what you should do. And I remember meditation is such a popular thing these days. I was going through some stuff, and then he sat me down, and I remember the very first time he said, close your eyes, visualize this, go here, go there. That was when I was in class 8. So this was like in the 90s. And this man knew about those things, and he was introducing it to such a young, impressionable person. But I think he was a major influence for what I wanted to do and how I wanted to become. And at the same time, he did something magical with us as a team of students. I think that would definitely be one of the stronger influences. But also, I saw my mom. She did, on the one hand, Michiel, she did a lot of things on her own. Mm. And at the same time, if she needed, I saw that she had those relations with people around her, because she was this relatively young woman with 3 kids living in the city. She had those relations where people
It takes a village, right?
Right. And she would she had those relations, she had that exchange with the people in the community around, that we were always there for each other. Mm. I think, subconsciously that may have given me the lesson, or given me the idea that you don't have to do this alone.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this alone. That's a biggie.
Yeah.
That's a biggie. It's easier said than done.
I know, especially because in society it's a lot about individualism, no? Mm. Who are you, and where do you go? And it's all about I, me, myself. Nothing wrong with that, but as long as there's a bit of a balance.
How easy does it come for you to ask for help?
Now, easier and easier. Earlier, it wasn't so, because it's also one of those things where there is a strong cultural element to it as well, where somewhere, somehow, if you ask for help, it's unfortunately perceived as weakness, that you don't have it together. And my partner has been a massive influence in being able to sort of encourage that, asking for help and being able to show vulnerability is such a superpower. It's such a superpower. Uh-huh. And because more than anything else, more than what it does to you, it empowers the person in front that it is okay. That it is okay to ask for help or be seen in not on your best day, and so on. So I think it's that as well, I would say.
Hey, so you were having your own team in operations.
Yes.
And you started with the group 69.
Yes, batch 69.
Batch 69.
Yeah.
Let's go a little further and see how your corporate career develops.
Yes. So from Wipro, I stayed there for 3 years. Then I moved to another organization, Infosys, and then it's team leader. Then you go to assistant manager, and then you become a manager and a senior manager and an associate director, and life flows, and it's working harder, learning things. I've had some pretty amazing people that I have worked with, not just in my teams, but my reporting managers and so on. And then the thing is, and I mentioned about autopilot at the beginning, Michiel, I did not realize. Now I can sit back and reflect upon it, but it's same old, same old, same old. It's every 2.5 years you get a promotion. It's more work pressure, more responsibilities, and you're doing more. Maybe the organization changes, maybe the client changes. And then, okay, at some point they said, oh, we have a project abroad. Would you like to be interested? And then you come here. But it is still you giving in your very best for the fulfillment of an organization, and you doing everything in your capacity and then some, because you say I have a 39-hour week, but you're doing way longer than that. And it is that constant sacrifice, for lack of a better word, that you're making of what might be important to you, what might be meaningful to you. And it just continued.
But at what point did you start sensing that? Because if I can imagine, and I've been there in a career of achievement, that it's also a sort of addictive, right? It's a sort of positively reinforced that, hey,
because it's so celebrated.
New car, new this, new that, all those kind of things, and so it's positively rewarded.
Yeah.
And so how did that? Where did it start sensing like, okay, this is feeling off?
To be honest, if it was left to myself, I would not have probably seen it. My partner pointed these things out to me, and I remember this was in London. I was working in sales and account management. One of my clients was Spotify, and there was an outstanding invoice for about $1 million or $2 million, whichever way, and
quite an invoice.
Quite an invoice. But I had great relations with these people. I knew it would be paid. I wasn't worried. However, the timing was a bit off because it was the financial year ending for the organization that I worked for, and I got a call from the COO, and then over the weekend, then I got a call from the CEO's office saying that this is important, this is unrecognized revenue, you've got to do something. And I was doing everything in my capacity and then some to follow up with the client. But and Spotify was really growing at that point. I was in the mix. I knew what they were going through, and they had good intentions. Money was not really an issue. They were just busy. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, what do? I have a little bit of a push and pull. And I kid you not, I found myself sitting in my living room in my apartment in London. I was chanting, and when I say chanting, I for many years I've been practicing a form of Buddhism where, when there's something when you're in trouble or whatever, chanting is a part of the faith and the practice. I found myself, with folded hands, I'm chanting that, could you please do something that, my clients pay the invoice. And in hindsight, that's a desperate move, right? If as a part of your faith and practice, you are chanting for a 2 million invoice to be paid because there is so much pressure from the management, you're getting calls that, this needs to clear, this invoice needs to be paid, else I think that may have triggered something slightly. But again, did I do anything about it? No, because I was working for a big organization, having fancy clients. I was working in the heart of London, and I was living the good life. So golden handcuffs make you tolerate a lot of things. But that moment was a little bit of a reckoning for me. That I'm like literally praying, could you please make sure that this invoice is paid? Yeah.
You mentioned there sounded a little judgmental about yourself doing the chanting and then. Is it what you then thought or now?
No. I then thought, because of course, as a part of the Buddhism practice, when you want something, it is okay to chant for it. But what I then thought, and I still think, was that acute sense of desperation from which I was chanting. And it was not because, the desperation came from all that pressure that I was experiencing. That's not what I thought I had signed up for. So it's, you are probably right in assessing a sense of, judgment, for lack of a better word. But
you are also asking, right? So you were asking a little confirm, and I am very slow with. A lot of people say to me, Michiel, I never met such a non-judgmental person as you are, because, it's not about training myself, but I'm very slow with acknowledging something which I can't place as a sort of, it's not right, or it's a lack of this or that.
Yeah, I understand.
So I recognize when someone is talking about herself or himself in a sort of judgmental way. Are you very strict on yourself?
I'm a lot better now. Very happy to say that. I have been very harsh on myself in the past. Showing grace to myself is something that I have learned not relatively recently. It's only in the last couple of years that I have figured that out, I would say.
What helped you? Because this is a common theme for a lot of us. What helped you?
I think the whole situation that happened with my friend during COVID, all of that. But again, and it's a little bit of a repetition, but my partner has helped me see a lot of these things as well. And I think in my overall journey, I was talking to somebody yesterday who said, living in and of itself can be complex and it is hard. Life is hard as it is, so we don't have to put on more layers and layers and layers. Showing a little bit of grace and support to your own selves can be healthy, but it's taken me a while, and I think since 2020, 2021, these things have changed. What happened with my friend, that was a part of it. And I think in general, after that, I started challenging things, questioning things, and it still does not come easier. There are days when I'm like, okay, what have I achieved, or what have I done, or what is the next thing? It does become a little bit about that, but I am able to accept myself even when I'm not doing or achieving things more and more, I would say.
Wow, look at you.
I know.
Hey, you mentioned now twice, and of course we had a brief video conversation, so I know about COVID, and I know about the turning point in your life. And we are going to deep dive into that, because it's a turning point it became a turning point for you.
It did.
But for the audience, we don't know where we're talking about. So please explain what happened in COVID.
This is a friend of mine. Her name... See, my mind is struggling. Should I say is or was? Her name is Vinita. We called her Vina.
Vinita.
Yeah. And she... you have friends. There are friends and then there are friends, right? And I think it is safe to say, not just for me, anybody who knew Vina, I think she was such a gift it was such a privilege in hindsight to have her in your life, to have her by your side, to know her, because I think for me, she was my outsourced conscience. She could, it's not that we always had the time to speak and stay in touch, but it's one of those relations where when she was there, she's there in your life. And she would call out my silliness, or she has seen me through everything in life. I know her from college days, and then as life has gone on. She's just one of these, I don't know, I don't have the right words. It's because Veena for me is a feeling, and I'm finding myself getting a little emotional right now. She was just there.
Which is fine.
Yeah. And she was this very subtle and very strong presence in your life. She was just there. She was funny. She was direct. She had all the love and compassion for everybody around her. To know Veena was to love her. And then during COVID, she passed away, because in India there was a lot of challenge about vaccines and delays and this, that, and the other. And then, where I live around in Amsterdam, there were people protesting that they do not want vaccines, and that just, I'm like, what is going on here?
Blew you away.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I still remember struggling to get vaccines for my dad, who's in his 70s, and he's in a vulnerable age group, and there was so much challenge with that. And, here, so life is so different for different people. But coming back to Veena, she had a very severe situation with COVID, and she was hospitalized, and then, from one day to the other, she passed away. And I've had people in my life in the past, I've lost people, but they're grandparents. And it's kind of...
it's a sort of, quote unquote, right following order, right?
Correct,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's kind of expected that they're older, they've been here longer, so, you will see at one point they will be gone and you will move on. So that's been there. But Veena is... And I know some of my other friends as well who've known her for longer, who went to school and college with her. I think some of us have still not processed it, or it has taken us very long to find the right way to talk about it or to express things. And she left behind at that time a 4-year-old boy and a husband. And I think when that happened, I started questioning a lot of things in my life. And the fact that it was COVID, I saw Vinita's funeral on a Zoom call, because we couldn't travel anymore, at that time, and there was no option to be there present. And I still have not had the courage to go and meet anybody in her family. Her mom passed away recently as well, but I haven't had the courage. For many years, and Veena lived in Calcutta, for many years I did not go back to the city, because for me, going back to the city, everywhere that I went, it was memories of her. I avoided going back to the city. It has taken me a while. I went to Calcutta, I think, last year. After.
How was that?
It was all right. I did not go to any of those known places. I still do not have that courage, I must admit. But my younger sister now lives in Calcutta, so it was a happy occasion. She had a baby boy, so it was positive, but I just stayed there for a night, and that was it.
Is it courage, or is it, I'm not ready yet?
I think I wasn't ready, but I think, what could have helped is if we, as a group of friends, if we would have done something together about it, maybe it would have been different. But it's not something that we've talked about, or because we've all had our very individual journeys in processing that loss, I think. And some of the other girls, they live locally in Calcutta, so I think they've had more time together to do things, process things, or be in touch with Veena's family and so on. But for me, I think I wasn't ready. I mean, I'm surprised that I'm not breaking down into tears and still able to have this conversation right now. But no, I have. But she's here,
She is. She lives inside of you, right?
Yeah.
And we've spoken about a certain, it's a turning point in your life, but we've spoken about a certain sort of regret. You shared a regret.
Yeah, because
there's a regret in it, which was actually the start of the turning. Yeah.
Because I mean the loss in and of itself was huge, right? And at the same time, and I still have those messages, because when she was like, "Oh, I'm not feeling very well. I think I might need to go to the hospital," I said, "Okay, keep me posted." We were constantly in touch, but I was at that time. I was doing my master's degree. I was doing my MBA from the Amsterdam Business School. I was working on the biggest project that I have ever undertaken in my life, and it was COVID. I was up till here, like 60, 70 hours of work and studies. That is what was going on in my life. And then there was this just general stress and anxiety about COVID. You're homebound, and then all of everything that not just me personally, everybody around us was going through. And coupled with that, I realized that I could have been more present. And one of my last messages to her was like, "I'll be in touch. I'll call you.
I will call you back.
I'll call you back." And that's what I realized. A lot of us, especially in today's day and age, we behave, we act with people as if there is always a plan B. We treat...
There's always a next day.
Yeah, exactly my point. Or we
Memento mori.
And exactly. And we also treat things, people, situation, nature, everything as if there is a reserved planet for us, as if there is always a contingency. We behave like that, but sometimes there isn't one. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just be a little bit more mindful and do things and care about each other and just live a little bit more, with a little bit more presence, I would say, with a little bit more awareness that this is valuable, this is what fulfills me, this is what gives me happiness and joy, and instead of an inherent taken for granted kind of a thing.
Taken for granted.
I'll call you back. Never got that chance. I mean, and I never will. And I don't even have a voice note from her that I can play back. I have nothing. And I have the photographs of the last time that I saw her. She was with her son and she was wearing this yellow pullover. I have photographs of that day, but nothing more than that. So I took that whole situation for granted.
A lot of beautiful memories.
I have a lot of beautiful memories, thankfully. Yes, we have a lot of beautiful memories, but I think that inflection point was from the fact that I thought I had more time, but then I didn't, and then I realized, what am I really doing? Where am I investing my time?
That's a good question. What did you do with that realization?
With that, I went numb for a little bit, right? And
what does that mean for you, becoming numb?
There was not a lot of interaction going on with people around, and at the same time, the next possible escape is doing more work.
Yeah.
Then I'm not thinking or feeling, no?
Bury yourself under work.
I was like, happily, bring it on. Bring it on. I got this. And that just kind of continued for a while. And then... It just it wasn't easy, but my coping mechanism was just continue to work and just continue to and what did I do? That was your question, right, Michiel? So initially nothing, and then I started having conversations with people, right? Because at that point, I thought, maybe it's just that I need to change my job, which will give me a little bit more breathing space.
Were you then, at that point, working at FedEx?
I was at FedEx.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, great organization, some of the best people that I have worked with, an amazing team that we got to build. And despite that, I was like, okay, where are my priorities? But to answer your question, Michiel, I spoke to people. I started thinking, reflecting. Some of my close friends who I spoke to, they're like, privilege problems, can't understand because you're living abroad, you're earning good money, you have a proper career. What are you concerned about? I'm like, I don't have purpose in my life. It feels very hollow. They're like, sorry, we don't relate to this. And he's one of my best friends. He said, sorry, can't relate to it. I can't help you. So then I was like, okay, maybe I'll just get over it. So you continue to continue. That's what I did. I did not necessarily take any actions. Yes, I remember speaking to one or two recruiters somewhere because My mind at that point only could think, oh, it's just a job change. That is going to sort things out. No, I needed to change. I needed to look into myself and figure out the internal landscape. That's what needed to happen. It's not about my job. It's not about the people.
But what was then the sort of, well, inflection point that needed still to be happen to force you to really take a career turn? Because that's what you did. That's what happened. What you did. What happened.
Indeed, that's what happened, I would say. And
what happened then?
What happened was my role at FedEx got made redundant, and there were changes. This is like any other corporate organization. My story, in its own way, is unique, but there are many of us who face this. There are many people that I know of personally who have been through a similar challenge or a journey, I would say. And it was tough because when my role got made redundant, or they're moving jobs here and there, fine. I took it so personally in the beginning because up until then, my identity was my job. It's my title. It is who I am. You walk into a room, who are you? My name and my job title. That's it. That really is it. And that is, despite everything, unfortunately, that's how culturally in India, this is still very much the case. It's who you are and what you do. They are very combined, right? It's about, like you said, it's about the house and the car and the fancy things. It's all about the external validation all the time. And that's what I was conditioned into, right? Despite all the beauties and joys that I had growing up, ultimately, you have to earn money and next and next and next. What are you doing? What are you achieving? What's the next goal? So I took it very personally. My identity, I did not know who I was without that job. You know, I did not know who I was without having a team. I did not know who I was without those responsibilities, without those roles. And okay, if I'm not achieving this, the Monday morning 9 a.m. call is not there. What do? It was crushing. And then you're angry, very angry. And you kind of go through the whole grief cycle. And then sometimes it's one day forward, 5 steps, 5 days back. It's that. I got help. My partner was, he's still my biggest cheerleader. He really is. And when I called him that this is what happened, also the way it was handled in the organization was not could have been nicer, I would say. I mean, it's never pleasant information, but at the same time, it was tough the way it was managed. And I stepped out of the room and I called my partner and I said, by the way, this has happened. He's like, congratulations, best news ever. I'm like, are you not listening to me? He's like, take it from a person who's been made redundant or fired 4 times in his life. This is the best thing ever. A year from now, you're going to thank yourself that this has happened. I'm like, okay, I'm hanging up now.
This is not what you want to hear.
I
don't need this.
I wanted somebody to commiserate.
Understanding and acknowledge you in your feelings and your anger, right?
Yeah. And instead, he was like, this is great. This is going to be amazing. Now you're going to like fly high, do your own thing. And I'm like, okay, never mind this. And in my head, I'm like, okay, this is this.
I don't need this right now.
I don't need this right now. And particularly my Indian head was not able to process that because I have never had a break in my life. I worked for 21 years
in a row
straight.
Yeah.
My only days when I did not work were the weekends when I switched. Friday's the last job in one company. And Monday's the first day in the next company. There are 2 weekends in my life when I have been without a job. I have worked nonstop. And then when somebody says, oh, this is great news. So I couldn't. No, I couldn't appreciate that at that point. But then I got help. He was definitely there. But I worked with, I realized that my mental health was not in the right space. So I got help around that. I worked with a very wonderful and experienced coach. she helped me see a lot of things. I think that combination of working with my therapist and working with my coach was really, really, it opened things up in some amazing ways.
What were the biggest discoveries there for you?
With my coach, the biggest discovery is I kept on talking to her in terms of my achievements. Oh, this was the target, project, this, that. And towards like the 8th or 9th session, she said, do you realize that it's all about people? And I'm like, yes, we've always done things together. Because it was difficult for me to speak in I terms. I always used to say, oh, we did this and we did that. Because that was the reality. You never, at least I did not achieve things on my own. My team was like, we were in it together, right from batch 69 onwards.
But you had also role models as starting point, your mother, then the teacher.
Yes.
And then at work.
Yes.
And then managing your own teams and see that. So it's a long journey of. It
is a long journey
of learning to think and care about a lot of people.
Yeah.
But where were you in the equation?
Where was I in the equation? I was busy chasing the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was. Mm-hmm. Because that was the conditioning and that is what was the expectation. So when this happened, I got to take a step back and like my coach pointed out, it's about people ultimately. You have a lot to say about where you are at with people and how your take is on things. And this is coming from a lady who's an experienced executive turned coach. So she knows what she's talking about. She's not just fresh out of college and has become a coach. No disrespect to somebody who has done that, but she's been there, done that. So she helped me see that. And as far as my therapist is concerned, oh my God. At one point I had 2 therapists because I was seeing a Dutch therapist here and it was taking me a rather long time to explain the cultural elements of where I was. There was a lot of guilt in my system at that point. I'm not there fully present for my team. I'm not being able to help them. And she was like, but they're your team. They're adults. They're not in kindergarten. I'm like, yeah, but you're not understanding it. And so I had a therapist back in India as well. So I needed double help at one point. They helped me see the lady here, and bless her, she was very Dutch, direct, on point, and she helped me see the agency in my team, that they don't need you. It's great if you can be there, but if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to mess things up much more in the longer run for yourself.
And you have a lot of dependency on you instead of and growing
really
agency
enabling
within the
them.
team.
Yeah. And my team was very independent, and I'm in touch with many of them till date. They still are. They're these brilliant professionals. It was me.
It was the care.
It was care, but it resulted in a fair amount of guilt for me. Oh, but I'm not being able to do this. Oh, they need to work on their CVs. I should be able to do this. And, that went on for a while. And then my therapist back home in India, she helped me to unravel a lot of things about my relations with my family and how that had changed, because I became a provider for myself and then eventually for members in my family at a very young age. That makes you a certain way.
Quite a responsibility, right?
And I still have it, but my relationship to that responsibility has evolved. Instead of have to, a lot of times I think about it as I get to do this. And it's not been a straight journey.
It never is.
And it has not been without its moments of acute frustration and loneliness and desperation, I would say. But it is something that has been, it might sound a little philosophical, but you're never given, I believe you're never given a situation if you don't have that inner strength to deal with it. If I had or have that responsibility of, taking care of things for my family and whatever, I think I got what it takes. That's why it's me. Maybe it's pure rationalization. I don't know. But I think for each one of us, it's just being able to take that time and tap into that inner strength and functioning from there. It's taken me a long time. I am still figuring stuff out, right? So I think it was a fair amount of I think it was. I've lost my chain of thought for a bit.
No, it's not. But what clarity did you find?
with my therapist, the one in India, I think what she helped me see that I don't. She also helped me. One thing that she helped me see is that it's possible to work and support and other people, which is what I wanted to do. I still remember the first day. It was 3 or 4 years ago, because I started working with her a bit earlier before this whole FedEx situation happened. And I, preparing for the first meeting, I wrote down, that list was so long. And if I go back and read that, there was so much of what you rightly pointed out a while ago, so much of judgment, very little grace. I am this, and I have limiting beliefs, and I'm, very long list. And she helped me see that I had what it took to help people. Even though she was a therapist, she helped me see that very early on in that relationship. And she said that, I see very easily in a year's time, you could have your own company, you could be doing that. And I'm like, what is wrong with her? Like, I'm telling her all the ways in which life is miserable and I am this very weak person who cannot do. She's like, no, but I really think. And it did not happen in a year. It took me a little while longer, but I got to it. She made me see that. And from a family standpoint, my relationship with some people in my family I was almost trying to buy love in some ways, She helped me see that. She's like, how about you don't spend money, you don't bring fancy gifts, and just allow the relationship to be there.
And you be you.
Yeah, you be you. And see how that pans out. I did not have firstly, I didn't know that was an option. I did not know that. You
don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah,
so you have to experience, or somebody has to
absolutely
to guide you through to that point of realization, and then figure out, hey, it actually is there.
Yes,
I can be who I am, and not only about doing, but also just you as
just
being.
And I realized that, and it's very interesting because since the whole FedEx thing happened, there was the family part and then there was the whole FedEx thing. When I started being more of myself, that I am here, this is what has happened, this is me, there are so many relationships around me that changed, Michiel. They are still in my life. They have been friends for a very long time, from different phases of life, some from my work, some from my studies, and some more recently from other arenas of life. And when I stopped pouring into that relation, when stopped buying love, as my therapist very harshly pointed it out, when I was like, okay, this is me, I'm here for you, but I'm not investing more, I'm not going to be the one who's always calling or following up or whatever. I saw relations change.
What change did you see?
People kind of had gotten used to me being the one investing more in that relation in every which way. And I am that person. I still am that person. I love to get people together. I will text you and check on you even when there is no plan or there's nothing going on. I still am that person, but with quite some relations, I realized that it's okay to love people from a distance. And it is something that you mentioned a while ago, that it is self-care without being selfish. Yeah. I'm watching out for myself. Whenever and for whatever reason you need me, I am here. But I'm not going to bend over backwards and always be the one.
Not at the cost of yourself, right?
Not at the cost of myself, and I'm not buying love anymore. That was a big one. And it changed some very close relations, disintegrated.
Of course.
And that's
all right. The balance changed.
Yeah. I wasn't chasing those relations anymore. I wasn't seeking validation from those relationships anymore. And but I love them very much still, and I'm okay to do that from a distance.
And how did that change your professional scope?
It changed my professional scope. Did
it? I don't know.
It did, and it still does. Because initially, when I went into this work that I do, because I work as a coach and I facilitate subconscious reprogramming as well. Initially, that work, to be brutally honest, a little bit at the start, I was functioning from a place of ego. Oh, look at me! I get to do this. I get to bring about this change in another person. And in hindsight, but thankfully that went away very quickly, thankfully, because it would be a disaster.
Yeah, but how so? Because did someone pointed at it, or did
yes.
you figure it out yourself?
No.
I'm an entitled person.
I was able to understand a lot of it myself, but it's not something that you want to acknowledge deeply.
No, of course not.
You definitely don't want to do anything about it.
No.
But I trained in breathwork as well. So my breathwork teacher helped me see that if you're functioning from a place of being that, look at me, I'm the facilitator, and I get to, for lack of a better word, fix you or heal you. Oh my God, that is such a pathetic place to come from. Because human beings, each and every one of us, we are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. We are complete.
What if it's not about fixing?
Nobody needs fixing.
No.
You might be interested in growth and transformation.
It sounds really entitled, right?
Yes.
I'm going to fix someone. I fix you.
I fix you. Like you're broken.
I get goosebumps.
Yeah, right? And for me, that was I like I said, very grateful that transition happened at the beginning. And for me right now, and this is something that I have said to many people many times, my job as a coach and as a subconscious reprogramming facilitator is to just hold a mirror in front of you. And I will keep holding that mirror whether you're comfortable or you're uncomfortable, because the goal is you are here and you are interested in growth and transformation, you want to get here, right? I will be here sitting in front of you. I got you. We are in this together. However, I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to provide you the solutions and tell you, go here, do this, do that. There's sometimes like 5% that element does come in. Oh, I have tried this in the past. Maybe it will work for you. But it's just that. For the rest, whether it is coaching or it is the Buddhist practice, the deep belief, and I love those two Buddha statues that I'm getting to see behind you, all the wisdom that a human being needs to do, to achieve, to solve situations, to progress in life, it is there inside each and every one of us.
That's true. That's what I fundamentally believe.
Yeah.
Also, all the real answers we're looking for are already inside of us, are waiting to be unlocked.
Correct.
I love to do, you saw me a little bit smiling, starting smiling. Well, are you able on the a little amount of what you know about me to hold a mirror to me?
Yes.
But
it would depend.
Am I ready for it?
No, but it would depend on, because when I start a coaching session, it would typically be, what would you like to be coached on? What is the topic for today?
It's a good question. So what was the question? Sorry.
What would you like to be coached on? What's present for you today?
Great question. First, what comes to mind is that I'm present so much in the podcast, and I would wish that I could be more present during the whole day. So what I notice is I'm very present in the podcast. I truly enjoy having these conversations. Yet, in life, I love to do a lot of things fast and about doing and about, so becoming a little bit more present. So pause and reflect as I help also my clients with, and finding clarity, but also apply it to myself, becoming a little bit more present.
That's beautiful. And I love the fact that there is so much of awareness in you already, that you are aware that the podcast is a place where you have deep presence, and you want to, it sounds like you want to extend that to the rest of your life. And when you are not doing that, when you're not being present, so you're saying no to presence and you're saying yes to what in that case? What's pulling you?
Doing. Yes. Doing. I love people. I love connecting. I love, as we all crave connection, I love being out, outside. yet I also have my responsibilities, my obligations, my things to do, and that needs presence also. So I would wish to become a little bit more present during the day as I am right now, because this conversation can't get me any more present than being here, not being busy with asking the next question. Or my one of the principles in the podcast is ask genuine questions to enrich the conversation. Sure. And so that's why I don't love to script a conversation, but also so to become more present.
To become more present. And you are very aware of the fact that you are saying yes to doing. Mm-hmm. And what about doing is so attractive?
So this is how you are normally going into the wow. That's interesting. We should continue our
I would love that.
Our inquiry. Is it a sort of inquiry?
It is inquiry.
It's an inquiry.
It is inquiry.
It's interesting. It's interesting when we flip the script, flip the roles. What's happening? And you make me think, and I'm like, okay.
And the thing
such a simple question, but
yes,
the answers are not simple.
No, they're not. And the beauty of coaching, and particularly the kind of coaching training that I have had, is it's very simple. And in a typical coaching session, it would be about conversation, but there would be moments when we would use our body's intelligence as well. I would ask you, how does it feel? Where are you sensing it in your body? Is there something that comes to mind? Or is there a particular, how is your breathing right now? And we would use the intelligence of your entire body. And then at one point you'd be like, boom, this is what it is. This is what has been holding me back. This is what I think I could do. And
this is what happened also with the breathing coach and yes. You, right?
Yeah.
And then that was the realization.
Yeah, and as a part of that learning, there were like two things. So one was that functioning from that state of ego is detrimental. You don't serve yourself. You definitely do not serve the person in front of you. And also another beautiful learning that I had from them, because there's a lot of, who am I to coach people? What do I know? I have just been in a corporate. There are all of these saboteur voices that go on, or at least they sabotaging and making you challenge and question and making you feel very, very small sometimes.
Imposter.
Yes, 100%. And this breathwork trainer, Pat, his name is a brilliant Australian guy, he said, you just need to be 2 steps ahead of somebody to shine the light for them and to help them if you wanted to. That took off all the pressure from me. Like, if I need to be just 2 steps ahead of you, Michiel, to help you, I got it. I don't need to be, and therefore, someone the other day, very senior guy in a private equity, he reached out to me. He wanted to inquire whether we could work together as a coach or not, and he kept on asking, very typical from corporate, how many CXOs have you coached, and who are your typical clients? How long have you been doing this? I'm like, the discovery is the other way around, you know. And I said, and earlier I would have been very frazzled by that oh my God, he's trying to question me and challenge me. And right now I'm like, I'm 2 steps ahead of you, boss. I got this. You have 20 years of experience in a corporate, so do I. I have trained as a coach. I'm working with multiple clients. Have I trained a CXO? Have I coached a CXO or 10 of them? Not yet. Will I? 100%.
I will fix you.
Am I ready to coach you? Yes. But if your criteria is you should have coached 10 CXOs earlier before me to work with you, then I'm not your coach right now.
What is the real question you think he's asking?
I think he's trying to test credibility in a very tactical way, instead of relying on the connection. And we connected very, very well. And we've stayed in touch, Bless him. He's a really lovely guy. But he was trying to sound things out, that have you done this in the past? Like, it was like a job interview.
Yeah, it was a little bit like a due diligence they normally do.
And that's fair. Yeah, exactly. And for me, that's fair. But I know that I'm 2 steps ahead of some people, and I am getting to genuinely serve and show up and coach some amazing, beautiful clients. So that's all that it takes.
Tanu, while we're heading towards at the end of this conversation,
Yes.
With what you're doing right now, you're also planning to organize something. Is that something we can talk about? Because the placement of this podcast is in the beginning of June.
Okay,
so
wonderful.
It might be interesting to,
yes,
let's say, do a little shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So there's a couple of things coming up in June and July, some which I am doing on my own, some are collaborations. So on the 10th of June, I am doing a workshop at Equals, and it is about the subconscious advantage. I want to talk to people about what the subconscious is, how they can tap into and understand more about it, get into self-concepts, and some very simple practical tips as to how they can work and be better friends with their subconscious, how they can intercept all of these noises that go on in our head.
That's the 10th of June, eh?
That's the 10th of June.
For how many, is it only women only?
No.
All right.
No.
The 10th of June.
Yeah, it's already up on the Equals website, so if you go there, you'll find it. So that's on the 10th of June. We're planning, another wonderful friend and colleague of mine, Pooja, and myself, we're planning to do a women's, let's call it inner circle. We're going to invite about 8 women leaders, and it's a forum and a safe space we want to create for them to talk and share and learn and understand from each other.
It's an intimate, close circle.
Yes,
can you be a little bit more specific what you mean by leadership? Because it's a closed circle.
Yes,
so we have
it's by invitation only.
Yeah.
It is senior leaders. This is for women only, however. And we want to bring in heads off. At least heads off, and we want to bring in people who are decision makers, but also women who have been there, done that, but who also realize that there are still challenges. There's still a certain amount of loneliness where they're at.
So one of the biggest challenges is loneliness at the top. Some
loneliness
feeling.
At the top, and also we want to encourage the invitees, the women who will be there, to understand a little bit about what's going on, what are the traps, what are the patterns that they are being guided by, just to bring about a little bit more awareness.
I think I know exactly at least one or maybe 2. I won't mention names now.
No, of course.
Don't no fait accompli in my podcast for now. So, but I will share.
I'd love
I will
that,
first ask them and then share their names.
Yes,
That's the following order. I love to
connect.
Both very accomplished leaders, female powerhouses.
I would love that.
So that's on the 25th. Eh?
That's on the 25th, also at Equals, but this is a private event. So
event only and invitation
in the evening,
only.
invitation only, and with we do some evening food, and it's a comfortable space for us to talk about, get to know each other, learn from each other, and it's a very safe, intimate space that we want to create. This is the first one that we're doing, and we want to do this a couple of times in the whole year, and we want to make it one of those places where women want to be over a period of time. That's there. And on the 9th of July, I'm a volunteer for Female Ventures as well. I
know Female Ventures very well. Now Tessa de Vries.
I know. And so I'm one of the event leads for Amsterdam, and together with Dentsu.
Anna was also involved for Female Ventures.
Wow,
she was chapter lead of Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we will have a conversation prior.
Yeah. So, so on the 9th of July, we are doing Female Ventures is organizing a wonderful event in collaboration with Dentsu. It'll be at their office in Amsterdam, and the topic is very interesting because I'm working with as a part of the preparation. I'm getting to work with some amazing ladies at Dentsu. They're young, powerful, creative. Anna and Joy, their names are. And they said, we want to talk about leadership accessibility. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, when we hear people talking about leadership, it looks very far away from us. How can we as young professionals be leaders in our own right? What can we do and how can we think so that we don't have to wait for 10 years and a job title to be referred to as leaders? And I love that. So we'll be doing a panel discussion and there'll be some educational content around that as well. So that's June and July. And of course, I am in London in May. I'm doing another workshop there, also on the subconscious. And this is with a company, an organization called Fuego. And their event is called Soul X Science. It's beautiful. Really
Look at you.
I know.
So to bring it all back and to also tie it to the Northern Star, reclaiming life beyond work.
Yeah.
If we look back at the amazing journey until now, what are the one or two learnings in that journey from reclaiming life beyond work? What are the one or two biggest learnings for you?
It's not an either or. You don't have to kill yourself in the job and have a burnout there, or you have to, you have work-life balance. You can be a very dedicated professional. You can be extremely good at who you are and what you're doing at work, but you can also focus on self-care. You can have both sides. And a lot of us, unfortunately, we do not even have access to this thought process. It's like, no, it's all about work. I'll rest when, I'm in my late 50s or 60s, and now it is all work. It does not have to be either or. I think that has been a huge learning, because I till very recently thought, no, it's just work, and it's just my career
all the way through it,
right?
So, yeah.
So that is one learning, and I think a realization kind of linked to this is make time for those things that actually matter. Like today, before coming in here, I said I had time, and I could have been on my phone, like a lot of us. And I was for a little bit. I was sitting on a park bench and I was on my phone, and I'm like, look at this. I'm just going to walk around a little bit. So do things, simple things, small things that make you happy, and be in that moment sometimes. And it does not have to be at the cost of your career. It does not have to be at the cost of relations. Instead, I think they will help your relations and your career and everything that you want flourish if you are a little bit more present, like you wanted to, like you mentioned, your ambition is. And take small things, do things because you can. Don't take it for granted, so that you have this, I'll call you back kind of a situation somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Make the most of those small moments in life, and and then that will see you through. It is those things that matter in life. At the end of your journey, you're not going to say, oh, I wish I had worked 40 hours more on that project, or I wish I had billed the client for a little bit more, or my revenue targets were different, or my sales goals were different. None of that. And I am not encouraging people to not work hard. Work hard, but it does not have to be only about the chase at all points in time. Focus on yourself, work on yourself, figure out, ask the question, what does growth look like for you? What does a fulfillment feel like? And you will realize, like yesterday we did a workshop with Lego Serious Play, and it was about financial independence. In the end, everything that we created, zero, nothing had anything to do with money. It was about empowered choices. I want to do this because I choose to. And that is my resounding recommendation to all of the listeners, that it does not have to be either or. You get to choose what you want to do. Just give it a go. Just give it a go.
I have one last question.
Yes, of course.
I'm at awe listening to everything that comes,
Thank you.
What comes out now. Not to raise a bar, yet just a question. And you can say, no, it's not for me. When are we going to see you on stage taking a TED Talk?
I'm getting a chill right now, because that's on my... I am going to do it. I don't know the when. I don't know the when. I don't know the how. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. I don't have the details of it yet, but people will find me and I will have something to talk about.
It's out now. So the Amsterdam TED Talk, Amsterdam is now...
it will happen.
It will happen.
It's like you have like a shortcut into my brain, because it's one of those things that has been bubbling up inside of me for a few months now. And I read and I'm deeply spiritual about a lot of things in life. And I thought one day, why am I thinking about a TED Talk? And then I heard in a podcast or a book somewhere, it said, you have these desires because there is a part of you that believes that potential is there. So to answer your question, someday soon I want to say I will be and I'd love it. I have so much to share. I just love it.
Yeah, obviously. Tanu, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This has been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Perhaps something from this conversation is still settling. A perspective, a feeling, or a question that arrived without asking permission. That's often how meaningful change begins. Stories have a way of traveling beyond the moment they are told, finding their way into conversations, decisions, and chapters still unfolding. If someone comes to mind whose path feels emotion, pass this episode on. And if the desire for more clarity, direction, and alignment has been quietly growing in the background, there's a space called the Clarity Intensify track, an open door for those moments when reflection starts asking to become movement. Until next time, take this with you gently and see what stays with you.